All right, so Mrs. and Mr. Who?
Jones.
Who?
Jones.
We have two larger set options for customers who love to what? Called the ultimate set and what?
Signature.
But I'm going to show you the pieces in our what set?
Basic set.
Of course, you can buy just individual pieces, but most customers agree that over a what?
Lifetime.
Sets are a much better what?
Value.
It's important to have the right tool for the right situation because of safety and what?
Efficiency.
Would you agree that if you used a really small knife on a really big job, it would be unsafe?
Yes.
Yeah, if I use a paring knife on a watermelon, then I'm going to, stab myself, right? If I used a really big knife on a really small job, that would be dangerous too, right? My fingers would get in the way, I'd cut myself. Also, efficiency. You have to have the right tool for the right what? Job. Generally, the rule of thumb is that whatever you're cutting, the knife has to be at least 1 to 3 inches longer than what you're cutting. So if I have a small knife like this is called our trimmer. If I'm trying to cut a chicken with it or a turkey with it, I'm going to be sawing back and forth. I'm going to stab myself. It's just way too small. So it's got to be between a couple inches longer than what you're cutting. So I need a big knife for the big stuff, small knife for the small stuff. So it's important to have the right tool for the right job. Ladies, how many pairs of shoes do you have? Way too many, right? There's a shoe for every occasion for every shoe. You're not going to wear your sneakers to a formal outing. You're not going to wear your heels to mow the lawn. It's important to have the right shoe for the right outfit, the right occasion. Guys, anybody play golf? Okay, so you need the right club for the right shot, right? You're not going to use a putter off the tee, and you're not going to use a driver out of the sand. It's important to have the right club for the right shot for a club, club for a shot. So it's important to have the right tool for the right job. Same thing with kitchen cutlery. You can't get by with just one knife. Our basic set is the most what? And it's called the Homemaker plus what? 8. Why does it call the plus 8? 8 table knives. Perfect. Has the minimum number of tools to do 100% of the jobs in your kitchen as efficiently as what?
Possible.
It's the best value for your average family and starts with your what?
Paring.
Why do we say the word your? Why is your so important? Ownership. You want to feel like it's already there. So if I hand this paring knife to Kristen, and then as I'm talking about it, she's cutting and she's holding it and playing around with it. So then when I take it back, she's going to say, my paring knife. Okay, so the idea is you want to make sure that your customer is holding it the entire time. So the way it works is every knife you get to, you're going to say the name of the knife. Now, if you have it in your set, it will say hand knife to customer, cut something, and then explain. Who do you want to do the cutting, you or them? Them. So I say the first tool in your set is your paring knife. I hand over the paring knife, and I have Mrs. Jones cut stuff while I'm explaining it. So I explain what it's used for while she's playing around with it. Now, if you don't have the knife in your set, it'll say point to the picture. So in your blue book, what you'll do is you'll just point to the knives in the blue book, and you'll say the next tool is your spatula spreader. Okay, and then you point to it as you talk about it. Now, all you really need is just one knife. I mean, honestly, if you have the Petite Carver, just the one knife that we cut rope with, you could sell the whole ultimate set. All they really need to feel is the handle and how well it cuts the rope so they know the edge is awesome. And then after that, every knife is just a different shape and size depending on the type of food you're cutting. Why is it more awesome to have a lot of knives in your set and to win as much as possible in your fast art? Because it's more fun. The more knives you have, it's more fun, you get to eat more, plus it's yours forever and you'll never have to buy knives ever again. So the more you accumulate, makes your demos more fun, but you could sell the whole ultimate set if you just have one knife. You get a couple in your sample kit to start off with and you'll accumulate more. So the first tool is your paring knife. Every knife has a name of the knife. Now don't worry about the dimensions where it says 2 3/4 inch, don't worry about that, just say paring knife. And then it says a nickname, so the paring knife is called the what knife? Air knife. And then it tells you what to do. So why is the paring knife called the air knife? Why do you think?
It's for jobs in the air.
Jobs in the air. Perfect, Connor. Perfect. Who in here cooks, by the way? Okay. I didn't cook. Who doesn't cook? Who was like me when I was in high school? Okay. I was 18. It was mac and cheese and Pop-Tarts. I never used a paring knife at all in my life. Now I use it all the time. I have the ultimate set with the cherry block and the pearl handle. It's just so awesome. I just go home every day and I look at my set and it's just the coolest thing in the world. But I never cooked when I was in high school. So do you think I ever used a paring knife? No, but as long as I followed the manual and I got excited, my customers got excited too. It's important to make sure that you get excited about each piece individually, not just the pieces that you like. Because if you only get excited about the pieces you like, you're going to sell a lot of spatula spreaders, okay? This thing is really cool, but you've got to get excited about each piece. So even if you would never use a butcher knife, like you're like, what would I ever use a butcher knife, okay? You got to get excited about it for the customer because they use a butcher knife, right? So it's very, very important. Now, who uses a paring knife pretty regularly? Does anybody use a paring knife? What do you notice that's different about this paring knife?
It has a very long handle.
Perfect, Jeremiah. It's got the long handle. What are your customers going to notice automatically, immediately? The long handle. Most paring knives, they have short, stubby handles that dig into your palm. Would you agree? I guarantee you that once you put this in your customer's hand, you've sold it. 100% guaranteed, without a doubt. When mom holds this or grandma holds this, they're going to freak out. Who thinks their mom would freak out when they hold on to that handle? They're going to freak out, and they're going to say, all right, this one's mine. Right? If you can get them excited about each piece in the set, then it makes sense to buy a what? A set. So you've got to get excited about each piece individually. So it's got a really long handle. That's the calling card for our paring knife. Short, stubby blade. Now it's a straight edge, so it's never used for what? Back and forth. It's only used in the what? In the air. So it's called the air knife because it's only used in the air. So I need Sean, if you can read for me the paring knife where it says everyone needs.
Everyone needs a good paring knife. Cutco's long handle makes peeling and paring comfortable. You'll use this for small jobs in the air, but rarely on the cutting board, and that's why you have your...
Perfect. Cross off the word rarely, right? Never. It's never used in the cutting board. Now, the reason why paring knives go dull pretty easily in most households is because grandma sits there and she's like, chopping celery with a paring knife. It's inefficient, takes a long time, plus that straight edge blade is only supposed to be used in the air because the food's not going to dull a knife, just the cutting board. Now, you can go towards yourself with a paring knife and you're not going to cut yourself. So tops off of strawberries, bananas, and cereal. You can go towards yourself. Never go like this. You will slice yourself. It's very, very sharp, but you can go against your finger if you're taking tops off strawberries, things like that. Now, do you think it's okay to let your customer know to like mention a couple other things that it could be used for? You think that's okay? What does that do? It builds what? Value. So the more ideas, the more Mrs. Jones can see that she would use each piece, the more value it builds. So you can jot them down in the margin. Now, I wouldn't add in a ton, but as Mrs. Jones is playing with the knife, you can say, oh, you can also use it for this and this and this. So what Sean just explained is perfect, but you can also mention a couple other things. That way they can get some other ideas what they would use it for. So I'm going to show you the paring knife. And I don't use paring knives to take the skin off apples because I love skin on apple. But for Mrs. Jones, who does this for her kids, look how smooth this is. Just goes right around the outside. It doesn't take big chunks off. It's really smooth, and you see the full handle, so it's not digging into my hand at all. And I just go around the entire thing just like that. It's super easy. Do you think Mrs. Jones would have an easy time with this? Yeah. Is this cool or what? You guys like that? You just go around the entire thing. You see the importance of having a good paring knife in the house? Everybody needs a good paring knife. Right? So that's the first tool in the set. Now, every knife, what you notice that Sean said is he talked about all the things that it's used for, but then it also says what it's not used for. So the paring knife is used for all your foods in the air, but never on the cutting board. That's why you have your what? Trimmer. So every knife says what it's used for, but it also says what it's not used for. Each piece leads into the other piece, and they're very transitional, so they're complementary as well, so that it leads into the other piece. All the pieces in the homemaker set are just the basic pieces, so every one of them is necessary for average everyday cooking. So each piece leads to the next one. Andrew just started a week and a half ago, less than 2 weeks ago. And Andrew, what's your favorite thing about the job?
It sells itself. It's so easy to do. And it's a lot more fun than just sitting behind a desk or whatever.
Yeah, and so Cutco's easier to sell than you thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
And does everyone tell you they're going to buy?
No.
What do they all say?
I'm just going to look, I'll help you out, but I'm not going to get anything.
What do they end up doing?
Buying.
They end up buying. And what are you at in sales now?
13.5.
And when did you start?
Less than 2 weeks ago.
Less than 2 weeks ago, so you've already made $3,000 in less than 2 weeks? Sweet. How much did you make all of last summer?
About half that.
Half that in the entire summer. You made twice that in just 2 weeks. They worked on their list last night. This is day 2 of training. They don't know about their prizes yet. Should they get excited about the Fast Start prizes?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Those
and
are so sick.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell them the prizes yet because they're not excited
Okay.
enough.
Come on.
What kind of food do you cut in your presentations?
Pineapples every time. They're so amazed by pineapples. I didn't even know how hard it was to cut pineapples because I never do. But they're just like, oh my god, that's so easy. So cut a pineapple on every demo, and they will be impressed and blown away, and they'll buy everything. So.
Yeah. And did you have some people that you didn't think were going to buy that ended up buying?
Oh yeah.
And how many no sales have you had total so far?
None.
You haven't had a no sale, so you're 100% closing. Yeah. And also, Andrew recommended a bunch of his friends for the job. They're all doing really well, so they're extremely appreciative that Andrew recommended. Mitch, you were recommended by Andrew as well? Sweet. One piece of advice on how to get the most out of training in their first weekend?
Listen to Drew and call everybody. The more appointments you book, the more you will sell. I had, I think 18 my first weekend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I sold as much as I did.
Awesome. So. Cool. All right. So the next tool in your set is your what? Trimmer. Trimmer. It's called the small what knife? Utility knife. Okay, now why is this one too small for a chicken?
It's not 1 to 3 inches longer.
Exactly, it's not bigger than a chicken, so it's too small, it would be dangerous, it would be inefficient. So you can't use this for the big stuff, it's only for the small stuff. Oranges, apples, small fruits and veggies on the cutting board, also tomatoes. All right, so Paul, can you read for me loud and proud the trimmer?
Do you have a tomato or a soft fruit we can cut?
I do, I've got a juicy ripe tomato.
This is your utility knife for small fruits and veggies. You'll never smash a tomato ever again. Mine has a pearl handle. Which color do you like better?
I like the pearl better.
Everyone loves it because it's so versatile, but it's never used for spreading or serving. That's why you have your...
Perfect. So whatever handle color they like better, just say me too, right? Whether they say classic or pearl, just say, yeah, me too. It's my favorite, right? Just agree with whatever they say. Now, I hate tomatoes. I absolutely despise tomatoes, and I want to vomit every time I think about tomatoes. They're gross, they're nasty. Ugh. But I cut them on every single presentation. Why do you think I cut them on every presentation? They're impossible to cut. Who's ever smashed a tomato with a normal knife? You ever get stuff on your shirt and you get, it's just, how many slices of tomato do you get with a normal knife?
5.
Yeah, very few, very few. This is the #1 knife sold since 1949. Okay, #1 knife sold. It's the most popular knife. It's the easiest one. It's the most versatile. This thing is sick. Now check this out. I'm not going to put any effort into this. I'm going to make a really smooth, thin, perfect slice of this tomato. And this is like juicy and ripe. Okay, this thing is awesome.
Are you related to the ShamWow guy?
I am not, but I would whoop his ass in a sales contest. Check this out. Did you see that? What's the name of the company?
Cutco.
What's the name of the company?
Cutco.
Cutco. Check that out. Bam, Mrs. Jones. You can see the Cutco logo through the, through the tomato slice. You can pass this around. Look how thin it is. Is it possible to get a thin slice of tomato like that on any other knife? Check this out. You can go forwards like this. It's like a contact lens. Okay, you can see the veins in the tomato. Check it out. So you go forwards like this. Oh, wow. Unreal. Pass this around.
Can we pass some back?
You can pass it back for sure. You can do whatever you want.
I might eat it.
Okay, check that out. That is the thinnest slice. Hey, by the way, would you ever go check? You see this? Would you ever go straight down on a tomato?
No.
Why? What happens?
Squish it.
Is that unbelievable or what?
Yeah.
Is that sick? If you cut a tomato in your demo, are they going to buy this knife?
Yes.
If they hold on to the paring knife and feel the handle, are they going to buy that knife?
Yes.
Every knife, if you build value for it, what are they going to buy?
The set.
The homemaker set. Exactly. You guys getting excited about this? Who here knows some soccer moms? You guys know soccer moms? Check this out. Okay, take the top off, take the bottom off, set it straight up. Okay. Just drag it right through. Is that cool or what? How hard is it to cut apples? Why is it hard to cut apples? Because the core, and also they're dense, right? Do you see how important it is to cut food in your demo? The more you cut, the more you're going to sell. The trimmer is never used for spreading or serving. That's why you have your what? Spatula spreader. Anybody ever done like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with a normal knife, and you like try to get jelly and you have to like balance it on the knife and it like falls off and you ruin the bread? Ever do that? Anybody ever try to do cream cheese on a bagel, but you have to do like 25 spreads to get the right amount of cream cheese and it takes you like 10 minutes? Okay, you know the Philadelphia cream cheese commercial where it's like the perfect spread? This thing is sick. All right, this is the spatula spreader. Also, have you ever tried to cut a piece of pie? What happens to the first piece of pie? It ruins it. It ruins the first piece of pie. Have you ever, because why? It doesn't have the edge on a pie cutter, right? So have you ever cut lasagna with a normal spatula and you like the middle noodle gets sucked in, you ruin the whole thing? Okay, this is unbelievable. It has so many uses. Logan, can you read for me the spatula spreader?
It's very flexible and it has a double D edge. You'll spread and cut sandwiches and you'll slice and serve casseroles and cakes. But you'll never use it on meat or medium-sized vegetables. That's why you have your...
Perfect. Okay, so for icing, cutting cakes, spreading and serving, my dad loves this knife. This is one of his favorites because what he'll do is he'll go into the kitchen. He's a football fan. Anybody have a dad that's a football fan? Okay, he goes into during commercial break. And what he'll do is he'll make a sandwich real quick because he doesn't want to miss a play. All right, so cuts his bagel, spreads his mayo, spreads his mustard, cuts his tomato, puts his turkey on there, cuts his sandwich, all with one knife. And it's like an over-the-shoulder toss into the sink as he's rushing back in front of the TV. That way he doesn't miss a play. He loves this knife. Now, my mom loves this knife because growing up we had sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, tuna fish, egg salad. You think moms like this knife? Lasagna, a lot of times we did lasagna, so it's perfect for that. It's got a ton of uses. Now check this out. Okay, with the cream cheese, It's the perfect spread. It's a healthy portion of cream cheese. A second and a half. Unbelievable, right? It's got the double D edge, so you can cut. Okay, goes through the crust, but also doesn't like ruin all the apples, because when you have a piece of apple pie, it like sucks all the apples from like one side of the pie to the other. Okay, it ruins the whole thing. But then it's flexible, so you can get underneath and you can serve it just like that. The perfect piece of pie every single time. Is that nuts or what? You guys like this knife? Now, don't lick the spatula spreader because it's got a double D edge. So even if there's like chocolate icing on it, don't lick it because it's super sharp and it will cut, all right? You guys like this one? Yeah. There's a rumor that you can win this weekend in your Fast Start contest. But it's never used for meat or medium-sized vegetables. That's why you have your what? You have your petite carver. Okay, the petite carver, what color handle does it have? Classic, right? The black handles, that's called classic.
This customer favorite in-between knife has two important jobs. First, it's for the large summer fruit and tough vegetables. Do you have a large fruit we can cut?
Yeah, I happen to have a pineapple. Oh, this is the one you brought, didn't you, Chris?
No, I brought a pie.
Yeah, I'm acting like your customer. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Second, it's your everyday meat knife for chicken and small roast, and it's used with your.
Perfect. You guys keep on hearing the word your. And you notice how everything has its uses, but it has also what it's not used for. Now, the pineapple. It's tough to cut a pineapple with a normal knife. Now, this, what is it also used for? Besides big fruit, what else is it used for? Tough vegetables, okay? And also your everyday what? Chickens, like your meats, right? This is a perfect chicken knife. Why? Because not too big, not too small. Now, I'm not going to use this on a turkey because a turkey's way too what? Big. And I'm not going to use this on a tomato because tomato's too what? Small. So it's important to have the right tool for the right what? Because of safety and efficiency. Beautiful. All right, so this is your everyday meat knife. This is probably the most versatile. If I were only to choose one knife, if I had to have only one knife, it would probably be the petite carver. Really, really versatile. All right, check this out. Is anybody timing me? Is that, can we give it up for the petite carver? If you cut a pineapple in your demo, is there any way they're not getting this knife? No way. And at this point, we're building value for every piece individually. And if you build value for every piece individually, it makes sense to buy a what? And you see how I'm having fun with this too? Like I'm getting excited, I'm like getting pumped. Yeah, and exactly. So as a rep, you want to get excited in your demo. If you're just cutting, you're like, well, there it goes. You know, you're not gonna get your customer excited. So you've got to get really pumped with every knife. And if the more pumped you get, the more excited they're gonna get too, and the more you're gonna sell. So that is the petite carver. It's used along with your what? Turning fork. The turning fork is the most underrated tool in the set. I love the turning fork. I use this every single day. Now, when I was 18, did I use this at all? No way, because it was just a fork, okay? But now I use it all the time, every day. It's one of my favorites, okay? The reason why it's a favorite is because it's got so many uses. Most people don't appreciate the importance of a good turning fork until they've used the Cutco turning fork. So, Kristen, if you can read for us the turning fork.
Besides everyday carving, your turning fork gets a lot of use. The 3 sharp tines will turn meats and vegetables like chicken in the frying pan. Getting things out of jars could never be easier. None of the pieces so far are used for larger foods. That's why you have.
Perfect. Now everyone say tines. Tines, perfect. So the tines, they're shaped to make them easier to use. The way that it's shaped is it flares out on the outside. That way you get a really good hold, and you can play the trick on the dog. It's not going anywhere. You can, it's stuck in there. Has anybody ever chased bacon around the pan? Ever done that? Has anybody ever tried to like flip a chicken, but you can't do it, so you have to like kind of like flip it over the edge? Has anybody ever tried to get pickles or cherries out of a jar? Okay, and you stab it like 100 times, you're like, screw it, you dip your hand in there, and you got pickle juice all over. Okay, so it flares out, so it's got a good hold, but then it's flattened out in the back, so it slides right off. So it's really easy to turn, just like this. You can do it with a tomato peel, you can do it with stir fry, you can do it with chicken, you could do it with anything that you need, French toast, waffles. Now, it doesn't have a full tang. Why does this not have a full tang? Well, where do you use it? Over a hot what? Surface. You don't want to get hot in your hand. You don't want to burn your hand. So it is chemically bonded to the thermal resin. It's not coming out ever. And if it does, it's forever what? Guaranteed. I've never seen a turning fork come out of the handle. It's impossible. You guys like this piece? You see the importance of having this in the set? Okay, cool. All right. None of the pieces we talked about so far are used for what?
Larger foods.
That's why you have your what?
Butcher knife.
Butcher knife. It looks like a machete, right? Now, it's important. Even though it looks scary, it's very important to have because it protects your other knives with big stuff. If you use a really small knife on a big heavy-duty job, would that be dangerous? Yeah. If you use this knife on a big job, it's not dangerous because it's going to do the job, right? So it's important to have knives like this so you can take care of the heavy-duty stuff. All right, so butcher knife. Dylan, you're up.
This is your heavy-duty knife that protects your other knives. It's for melons and all types of squash. You also have to use it for the joints of ribs and whole chicken. But it's not a chopping knife. That's why you have your...
Perfect. So the butcher knife, it's for it's separating like chickens and roasts and frozen foods. You can write down in the margin. You can write down frozen food. Really, really good for frozen food. It's got a straight edge, so it's never used for what? Sawing back and forth. It's only for a precision cut. So the butcher knife is never used on the cutting board for back and forth. But with a watermelon, how hard is it to cut a watermelon with a normal knife? It's really hard. Okay, the butcher knife also has a meat tenderizer in the back so you can tenderize your meat. Okay, this is for your big heavy-duty meats, okay, going right through chickens. The way that's used is it's a straight edge. It's got a curve to it, so we're going to just break the seal, and then we're going to use the weight of the knife to power through. This is the coolest thing you're ever going to see. Would you trust another knife with that? No. Is that pretty sick or what? Yeah. All right, let's go for some big piece. I didn't cut that the most even, but check this out. Is that awesome or what? You guys see the importance of the butcher knife in the set? Yeah. Who's getting fired up about Cutco? Do you see the importance of cutting food in your demo? Yes. All right. With a chef knife, thank you. With a chef knife, the point of the chef knife always stays on the cutting board. You never use the the front half of the blade. It's always the back half of the blade. Okay, fingertips in, knuckles out. The point always stays on the cutting board. You don't go like this like you see on TV. For home use, the way you use it is the point on the cutting board and just go up and down just like this. Now, because this knife is so long, it means that I don't have to raise my arm too high. So Mrs. Jones, if she's short and tiny and has little tiny arms, then the longer the knife is more necessary. Because if she had a shorter knife, she would have to go up like this to try to get leverage on it. So this is actually easier to use the shorter Mrs. Jones is. So longer is better for a chef knife. Does that make sense? Also, what you want to do with a chef knife is you can do a couple carrots at the same time. So I can go like this. I can do my entire salad or stew or soup or stir fry, any of that all at the same time. It's quicker, easier to use. This thing is awesome. And this thing is sharp as you know what. It is unreal. Check this out. Yeah, that just happened.
Every kitchen needs a good chef knife. The high knuckle clearance makes it comfortable and safer. You'll use it for dicing, mincing, and chopping. It's great for the 6 S's: soup, salad, stir fry, stew, stuffing, and salsa. Chef knives are for chopping, not slicing. That's why you have your...
Perfect. You have your slicer.
Our slicer is the best bread knife in the world. You'll never smash or tear fresh bread again. The long DD edge also makes it great for cutting cakes and shredding lettuce for salads.
Okay, when you say, when it says DD, you can just say double D. This is a really, really fresh loaf of bread. What's going to happen to it with a normal knife? It's going to smash it. I'm not going to use any pressure. I'm just going to use the weight of the knife. I'm just going to hold it with the rivets, and I'm just going to drag the knife through. And I'm just going to let the weight of the knife do the cutting. Is that cool or what? Unreal. Unreal. Check this out. And with a normal knife, what's going to happen? No crumbs at all. Is that sweet? Now, how about like a French bread that has a really hard crust like this, but it has a really soft inside? So what's going to happen with this one? You have to rip it apart to get through the hard outer crust, but then it's just going to smush the inside. Well, it's got the double D edge, so it's going to cut the outer crust, and it's not going to smash the inside. Look at that. Even the ones with air pockets in them. Is that cool? If you buy a head of lettuce in the grocery store, how much is a head of lettuce? A couple bucks, like $1, $2. How much is a bag of lettuce? Like $3, $4. What do you get more lettuce out of, the bag or the head? What's more fresh, the bag or the head? What's cheaper, the bag or the head? Okay, so if you use your slicer, check this out. You cut the butt off there. Okay, but then what you're going to do is you just do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we're just going to make a half a salad. We're going to keep this, and then you just slice it like this, and you have your salad for your family, or you can do the full head if you've got a bigger family. All right, now the slicer, it's perfect for slicing boneless meats, but not for anything with a bone. That's why you have your what? Master carving set. Has anybody ever, like on Thanksgiving, like it's really embarrassing to watch Dad struggle with the turkey, and it's just a horrible experience. So this is so smooth, and it just glides right through. It's got the double D edge. It's just so perfect, and it's just.
Do you ever barbecue or host family dinners?
I do.
You won't use it every day, but you'll be glad you have it. You'll need it for barbecue, big roasts, and all of your family occasions. It's important to have both forks because a turning fork is used to pick up food while the carving fork holds down the meat.
Okay, perfect. So the carving fork, this is your anchor. This holds meats down. Is this going to hold meat down? No. This picks things up. It's the turning fork. Is this going to pick things up? No, right? Like how you can't get cherries out of a jar with this. It's like you have to like harpoon it and get it perfect. Okay. So this is for holding things down. This is for picking things up. So they're two forks, but they have opposite uses. Okay. So that's why you have to have both. Cool. All right. So that is the carving set. You guys like this? Now the nickname. What's the nickname of the master carving set? Spare tire. How many wheels in a car? 5. Spare tire. Do you think about it every day? Nope. But when you need it, how do you feel about it? Glad you have it. That's the spare tire. With the carving set, are they going to use the carving set every day? No way. They're going to use it every week? No, not even every month. If they just used it on the holidays, even just twice a year, even just once a year, over a lifetime, could you see the importance of having that in the set? And that's why 30,000 people bought homemaker sets last year, because it's so important to have that carving set, even if they're just going to use it once or twice a year. All right. Then it says, can you see how over a what? You're going to use every what? Tool. To complete your set, your table knives are used for every meal, breakfast, lunch, and what? Dinner.
A rounded tip and wide blade like a butter knife, making it a safer knife, but with the double D edge, it cuts like a steak knife. This means no more earthquake effect at the table. Because they are the most used knives in your set, we recommend 2 table knives per person in your family so you don't have to wash them after every meal.
All right. Now, who has ever had the earthquake effect at the table where everyone's cutting their steak at the same time? You're like yelling at each other and it starts like a family feud? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut with their table knives. It says they're the most used knives in your set, so we recommend how many table knives per person in the family? 2. So the homemaker comes with how many table knives? So it's perfect for a family of 4. If they have a bigger family, can they buy additional extra table knives? It's the most popular thing for Cutco owners to buy more of. Whenever I saw Cutco owners, which was about 80% of my customers, they always bought more table knives. It's a very, very common thing to do. So they can buy a set without the table knives, it's called the basic set, but that would be like buying a BMW without the sunroof. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Most people buy it with the what? Table knives. Also, the table knives come, yes, thank you. The table knives come in the set already, so they don't have to buy them extra because they already come as part of the set in the block, so they're already part of it. Okay, let's compare the Cutco table knife to your steak knife by cutting a tough piece of leather. Okay, Yusuf, you're gonna be my volunteer, okay? All right, so we're gonna use your 2 junky table knives. We're gonna use a wooden handle one, plastic handle one. Does this look familiar? Anybody steak knives at home? Okay, so we're gonna use the wooden handle one first. We've got a tough piece of leather here, okay? Take this knife, start all the way in the back of the, yep, perfect, and go back and forth. You can stand up if you need to. Go back and forth. It's a good piece of steak there. All right, you don't have to finish that. Okay, then do the same thing with this one. Be a little careful, man.
Yeah, I'm going this side.
Okay. Okay, eventually gets through. Okay, Cutco table knife. Doesn't matter, it's the same. It's leather is leather, right? Yeah. We can do it with that one, but it's the same thing. Start all the way at the top, pull straight down. You don't have to. You dented the cutting board on that one.
I didn't
yeah.
know.
See how thin that is? Awesome. See how smooth that is? This thing is. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? So smooth. It looks like it was cut like It doesn't even look like a knife cut. It's that smooth. Now check this out. Can I teach you how to sell a set every time? Yeah. Man, crazy. All right. Can I teach you how to sell a set every time? All right, this is going to take you an additional minute. You see where it says, great idea, stack up the leather and in strips and press straight down? What you're going to do is you're going to cut the piece of leather. Now, you always have the customer doing the cutting, but for this one, I want you to do it. So you're just going to cut strips of leather just like this. and you're going to stack them up. And you're going to say, Mrs. Jones, how many pieces of leather do you think stacked up would equal a nice sized piece of steak? And she's going to say, like, 2 or 3 or 4. She might say 5, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You can stack up 6 or 7 or 8. It's always going to do the same thing no matter how high you build the stack. But we're going to cut up these strips of leather, and we're going to take their table knife, and I'm going to push straight down, and all you see is the marks on my finger, right? Because I'm pushing really hard. It doesn't even dent the first one. Same thing with their other one, pushing straight down, marks on my finger, nothing happening. Cutco table knife, we'll use a different spot so we're not cheating. And it just melts through the whole stack. And you could do it with 8 or 9 pieces. It doesn't matter. You guys like that? So it shows how the double D edge goes forwards, backwards, and straight down. All right, so that's the table knife. You see the importance of the table knives in the set? Those are awesome. Now, it says, although our table knives are great for meat at the dinner table, many customers like the traditional feel of a steak knife. Our 2 larger sets have the steak knife option. Now, the steak knife is this one here. This is the one that I have in my set at home. So I've got the Pearl Ultimate set with the Pearl steak knives. They're really sweet. Now, these just came out a couple of years ago. We've had the table knives since, the 1940s. We've been using for 65 years. They're unbelievable. They're perfect for steak. Now, some customers, they were saying, well, we want something that's got that heavy-duty feel, like Mr. Jones wants that steak knife feel. It's just a bigger steak knife feel. It's more of a traditional steak knife. These things are awesome for steak, the table knives, but if they do want that heavier duty steak knife, the Signature set and the Ultimate set come with the steak knife option. Nothing else has that option, just the 2 bigger ones, but they can get the bigger sets with the steak knife option. We sell a ton of these. They're really, really cool, and especially Cutco owners, they'll buy these individually to add to their sets. That way they'll have both the table knives and the steak knives. All right, it says storage options. So these wood blocks, unbelievable. They're sexy. They look good. It says Cutco on the front. I had a customer buy the Ultimate set just because her friends were going to be impressed with it. She said, I don't really cook at all, but my friends will really like this. And she bought the Ultimate just because it was sitting on her counter. Do you think people take a lot of pride in things in their house? Yeah. Especially people who have a nice kitchen, they want to show it off. Why would you have a really nice kitchen with really crappy knives? It just doesn't make any sense. So Cutco just looks great. It's got horizontal slots so it doesn't hurt the knife edges when you put them in and take them out. And it doesn't slide on your counter. It's got the rubber pegs in the bottom. They're pressed and treated, so they're always going to look good. They're always going to look shiny, nice, and new. The wood block is sweet. Now, some people like the storage trays. The storage trays, they're 2 plastic white trays that can go in the drawer for people that don't like things on their countertop if they're super OCD about counter space. Wood block is definitely the most popular option, so most people who buy a set, they get it in the block, okay? Well, if you're getting the best product in the world, show it off, right? Don't hide it in a drawer, okay? Show it off, Mrs. Jones. I didn't want to be the rep responsible for some little kids sticking their hand into a drawer and getting cut and going to the emergency room. Okay, so I always told my customers to make sure they get it in a block or in a tray. Either way, protect your fingers and protect your knives. All right, so that is the wood block.
Does that come in an additional cost?
No, the wood blocks are part of the set. Yep, wood block is part of the set. The wood block, also they get a cutting board, the tray, yeah. So if they buy a set, it's either the wood block or the tray, but it comes with it. Same with the table knives too. Yeah, all part of the set. Cutting boards. Our sets come with a free cutting board. It's important to use a soft plastic cutting board. Glass, granite, and marble cutting boards are too hard and will dull your knives. Do you guys see the cutting boards that we saw how they scratched up really easily? The softer the better. You want a really soft cutting board because if it's too hard, thank you, if the cutting board is too hard, it's going to dull the knife. So you want one that's scratched up. You want one that looks crappy. You can wash it and obviously the stains will come out, but you want a soft plastic cutting board to protect your knives. If it's too hard, it's going to dull. Who's got glass or granite at home? Glass or granite cutting boards, really bad. Throw them away, trash them, throw them on the ground, whatever you need to do, get rid of them. It's not good for your knives, okay? Softer and cheaper is better.
All right, so let me show you guys the wood blocks here. Okay, so you guys see we have 2 different color wood blocks, oak and cherry. Do you guys see the oak and cherry? Oak is the lighter color, cherry is the darker color, okay? So usually they get whatever color wood block would match their cabinets. So if they have lighter color cabinets, the oak looks awesome. If they have darker color cabinets, the only set that can come in cherry are Homemaker and above. So our top 3 sets can come in cherry. All of the holes go all the way through the back of the block, and then there's a loose fitting cap at the bottom. So you can just shoot water straight through the holes and clean them. Plus all the wood is pressure treated and sealed. So that means what? It's never going to absorb anything. 30 years from now, it's still going to look great. Plus, the wood blocks and cutting boards are guaranteed forever too, not just the knives. Most customers have like 3 drawers worth of like mix and match kitchen tools. How many of you know what I'm talking about, right? The kitchen tools, Cutco decided, hey, we're going to come out with a really nice kitchen tool set that's guaranteed forever, and that way it replaces 2 or 3 drawers worth of random kitchen tools. So here we had to do something cool with it, right? So here's what we did. All of our kitchen tools are actually balanced to fit right on the side of the pot, okay? So that way if you go answer the phone and come back, the spoon didn't fall in, right? Okay, so that's cool. Plus it's got the chef's curve. So you guys see how it comes to this curve here? So that way you don't have to dig your wrist underneath of something. You can just come in from the sides. That's called the chef's curve, okay? All right, so that's the kitchen tools. So I'll pass that out for you in a second. So these are options that they can add to their set if they want to add to their set. That's the kitchen tools. And then last but not least, I'll show you guys is the entertainer pack. Ice cream scoop, veggie peeler, which I showed you earlier, pizza cutter, and cheese knife. So each of our entertainer pack pieces have something really cool about it. So what was cool about the peeler? They go forward and backward, right? What's cool about the pizza cutter? Okay, most people have a pizza cutter at home that has cheese in it from like 5 years ago, right? So with this, it's cool. You can pop the arm out, pop the blade out, clean it, and pop it right back in. Okay, so really cool. Plus, it's strong enough steel that it doesn't even need to be sharp. This is good for kids making cookies or pasta or things like that too. Okay, so that's the pizza cutter. Okay, the cheese knife, probably one of my favorite things that Cutco makes. It's got holes in it so the cheese doesn't stick to it. And it's also good for starchy things like potatoes. The last thing I'll show you guys is the ice cream scoop. This thing is awesome. It will melt right through rock hard ice cream. Here's why. It's a zinc alloy steel, so it's got a higher melting point. So what that means is that if you put an ice cube in the scoop and an ice cube in a plastic cup right next to it, the one in the scoop melts 4 times faster than the one in the cup. It's the coolest thing you'll ever see. It's dishwasher safe. There's no liquid in it. It's just the type of steel that we use. Let's do a quick little review here. What year did Cutco start? Anyone remember? 49. Good. Okay. So who remembers where was Cutco made? Anyone remember? Olean. Good. Okay. Good. Excellent. And what do we cut the penny with? You got it. Okay. What's more disgusting, wood or plastic? Wood. Right. Which one's more dangerous though? Plastic. You got it. Okay. Which one rips and tears, serrated or straight? Good. Which one makes a clean cut but takes forever, but needs to be sharpened all the time? You got it. Okay. What is the tang of a knife? Excellent. Okay. Good, good, good. What's the problem with carbon steel? You got it. What's the problem with stainless steel? Goes dull and flimsy. You got it. Good. All right. What's the name of our special edge for Cutco? Anyone remember? Double D stands for double durable. How many years before it needs to be resharpened? Yeah, there's 10 to 15, right? Okay, good. And what? And the blades are where? In between the points, right? Okay. And Cutco's guaranteed for how long? Forever, right? Better than a lifetime, right? Because you can pass it down to your kids. How many days do they have to try it out? 50. Excellent, right? Okay, good, right? And you guys already know more than you think you know, right? Okay, so then we just go through the pieces in our most popular set. When we get to the table knife, what demonstration do we do? Leather, right? 3 different demonstrations. One's down on the cutting board, next is up in the air, and then stacked up. 2 different color wood blocks, oak or cherry, and they usually get whichever one matches the cabinets. There you go, you're experts. Okay, so that's where we're at in the presentation right now.
Cool. Well, I want to introduce you to Ray. Ray just started in last week's training group. Ray, what's your favorite thing about Cutco so far?
My favorite thing about Cutco is doing the demos, you know, eating the food and showing the product. It's easy to sell.
Yeah. What do you ut in your presentations?
Pineapples, mangoes, tomatoes. Wives love to cut tomatoes. Tomatoes seem to be the hardest thing to cut because you always smush them. Stuff like that. Apples, oranges.
Was it easier to sell than you thought it was going to be?
A lot easier.
Yeah. And did you have anybody? Did everybody over the phone? Did they tell you they were going to buy?
Oh, nobody ever says they're going to buy.
What do they end up doing?
Buying.
Yeah. And you sold your first 2 sets in the past couple of days also.
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Right at that first promotion. This is their second day of training. Can you give one piece of advice on how to get the most out of training and the most out of their first weekend?
Well, first, take notes. The notes are really going to help. And honestly, if you read the manual, you're going to get it. If you read the manual, you're going to get a sale. Yeah. You're not going to go without a sale. You may go, cause it's going to be a little rough, a little bit maybe. People have the rough weeks, people don't, but don't let that get to you. You're going to sell it.
We're going to go through the competitors of Cutco. We're going to talk about all the other brands out there, and we're going to show you how Cutco compares. Now, we are going to start off with one that's a junk knife. It's a really horrible, crappy, terrible knife, but we have to talk about it because it's very popular. The other ones that we're going to talk about are the 3 most popular brands in stores. So the first one we're going to talk about is called Chicago Cutlery. So I want you to grab out a fresh page of notes, and I want you to write down Chicago. Now, it's important to understand that our customers are on a homeowner's budget. Customers are on a homeowner's budget, and you are on a college student budget. And when you buy something for the home, it doesn't cost hundreds, it costs what? Thousands. Things for the home cost thousands, they don't cost hundreds. So it's important to understand your customer's position, and it's also important to not be surprised when you hear the prices. We're going to be talking about knife sets and our competitors. They're in the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even $4,000 range. Even though it's going to be surprising to you at first, realize that's just a normal everyday expense for a homeowner. For you, that's a lot of freaking money, right? But for them, it's pretty average, pretty normal, and this won't surprise them at all. Most of you just haven't shopped for these types of things before. So we're going to compare the top brands in stores. The first one's called Chicago Cutlery. Where do you think it's made? Chicago. All right. It's made in China. Chicago Cutlery is made in China. Does this look familiar to everybody? Anybody? Okay, this is a Chicago Cutlery knife. Okay, there are also Chicago Cutlery knives that have metal handles. Most Chicago Cutlery knives are wooden. This is their like standard normal one. They do have some with plastic. They do have some with metal, but this is their normal one, their top of the line one. Now, every knife company has different qualities. They have low quality, medium quality, and high quality stuff. Why do different companies have different qualities? Different markets, different prices. So if somebody doesn't have a whole lot of money, they're going to go to a store and they're going to buy it based on what? Price. Okay, if they have a higher budget, they're going to get a better quality one. People buy based on price. Now, when you go to a store to buy knives, is there anyone there to educate you on the knives? No, there's nobody there explaining the differences. It's just some lady that works at, Williams-Sonoma or the department store, and she's, oh, well, this is nice, and this is nice too, right? So she doesn't really know anything about knives. Also, can you try it out before you use it? Can you pull out a cutting board and a tomato and start chopping stuff up? Do you have a 15-day trial? Can you put on a 5-pay? No. So when people buy knives, they buy it based on price. So every company has different qualities so they can cater to different budgets. There's low quality, medium quality, and high quality stuff. For Chicago, this is their most popular. Cutco only has one quality. Why do you think we only have one quality? It's the best. We're not going to make Cutco with plastic handles because then we would have to call it Crapco. So we only make one quality, and it's the best. We'd rather somebody have one Cutco knife than a whole set of something else. Okay, so we will never sacrifice our quality for price. All right, so Chicago Cutlery, it doesn't compare to Cutco, but the reason why we talk about it is because it's popular. It's really cheap. Okay, it's one of the cheaper sets. It's the best of the worst, basically. It's the most popular junk knife, and if you're going to spend just a little bit of money on knives, and if you don't want to spend any money, get Chicago because it's just super cheap. That's what most people think. Right? So you're going to run into a lot of people in Chicago. Who here has Chicago at home? Okay, it's the most popular junk knife out there. It's just like all the knives we talked about yesterday. What types of handles? Wooden handles. What do you know about wooden handles? Disgusting. Gross face, right? What kind of rivets? What do you know about brass rivets? Yep, all the stuff gets inside, they pop out. What type of steel? Stainless. What do you know about stainless steel? Soft, so it's going to go what? Also, what type of edge? So what's going to happen? Does this have any guarantee? No guarantee. How long is it going to last? 2 years. 2 years. Yep, it's going to stay sharp for maybe 2 months, right? But 2 years, and then it's to replace it. So the price of the Chicago set, now I'm going to tell you the prices of the sets that compare to the Homemaker Plus 8, so the same size set. Now, our Homemaker set, it's just your basic average set of knives, right? Every company has a set that looks just like this. This is just your normal size set, 10 pieces, 8 table knives, 8 steak knives. It's just pretty standard. So the Chicago set that compares to the Homemaker Plus 8 is right around $250. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but right around $250. Now, that's really cheap for knives. Now, some of you are thinking, man, that's the cheapest stuff out there. That's the horrible stuff, and it's still $250? Yeah, it's what costs, things cost money. You pay for what you get. It's the cheap set. That's like pocket change for a set of knives, okay? $250 is really nothing for knives. Again, we're comparing to homeowners today, not to college student budgets. All right, the next brand that we're going to talk about is called Henckels. 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 It's called Henckels. Henckels has different qualities. They are the #1 most popular brand in stores. They are the #1 selling knife in stores. They sell about $50 million a year. Cutco is $250, right? So much bigger, but in stores, they rock. Okay, they're number one in stores. It's a really solid brand. They've been around since the 1700s, so it's very popular. Most of your customers have heard of Henkel's before. It's a really, it's a household name. Everybody's heard of it. There are different qualities, though. There's low quality, there's medium quality, and there's high quality stuff. You can go to Target or like a really, junky store, and you could buy a set of Henkel's that looks like this. Okay, this is their lowest quality. It's called Henkel's International. It's made overseas. It's not made in Germany where their top stuff is produced. It's just a really crappy set. It's got plastic handles, stainless steel. This knife is actually cheaper than Chicago. Cheaper than Chicago. It's about the same price. Why do they make crappy knives? Why do you think Henkel's, the number one brand in stores, the highest quality in stores, why do you think they make a low quality set? Budget. They want to sell, right? And they're selling the brand. This knife, though, it's just like any other crappy knife that you buy in Target or Walmart. Okay, it's just a junk knife. But some people might say, Kiana, I have Henkel's. I've got the best stuff out there. But if they have this Henkel's knife, this is like, dollar store quality. Okay, it's going to fall apart in a week. Now, how do you tell the difference between a good Henkel's knife and a bad Henkel's knife? It's the logo. Okay, the logo. What you'll notice is that on the knives, there is a logo with a little guy on it. If it has one guy, the one on the bottom has one little guy on it. I'm going to pass these around so you can see, but it has one little guy standing with a spear. If it has one guy, low quality. If it has two guys dancing together, that's high quality. One guy equals bad, two guys equals good. So if you have a customer that owns a set of two-guy Henkel's, it means that they spent over $1,000 on it. You can't buy a set of two-guy Henkel's for less than $1,000. That's like the mark for a high-quality knife or a good quality knife is $1,000. Now, anything with one-guy Henkel's is lower than $1,000. It means it's garbage. It means it's not very good quality. It can't compare to Cutco at all. So when somebody says, I have Henkel's, but they have a one-guy Henkel's set, it's just like a Chicago knife. It's just like any other junk knife. But if they have two guys, it means they spent a lot of money on it. Okay? Now, there are four of them. Four of the Henkel's sets that have two-guy Henkel's. A lot of them are one guy. Their top-of-the-line ones are two guys. The only one that compares to Cutco at all, even though nobody compares to Cutco, but the only one that would compare to Cutco is called their Twin Cuisine. Twisine. It's their Twin Cuisine model. That's their top of the line. So the Henkel's Twin Cuisine is the best. This one is made in Germany. All their other ones are made overseas in different countries, but their top of the line ones are made in Germany. It's a very, very good brand. It's really solid. It's got great materials. They have good steel. They have decent craftsmanship. It's a solid knife. All right, the price for the Henkel set, and I'm going to show you all the prices on the website in a little bit, on the Williams-Sonoma website. But the price for the Henkel set for the Twin Cuisine is right around $2,000. The list price is right around $2,300, but let's just call it $2,000 just to make it easier. So $2,000 for the Henkel's Twin Cuisine. Now, for that price, it's worth it for how long it's going to last. It's going to last about 10 years, maybe 15 if they take really good care of it. There are some differences between Henkel's and Cutco. There are some minor differences. For example, on the Henkel's brochure, it says Henkel's knives are dishwasher safe. But it's got a little asterisk next to it, and on the bottom of the brochure, next to the asterisk, it says not recommended. So they say dishwasher safe, but not recommended because it's not covered under the guarantee, and they don't trust their knives in the dishwasher. But it's dishwasher safe. All right, so there are little differences like that. There are two major differences that I want you to write down. The first major difference with Henkel's is that Henkel's knives are all straight edges, so they come with one of these. What is this? Sharpener. So they expect their customers to do what? Do you think most customers know how to sharpen their own knives? No. Even if they think they do you think they do it the right way? Or do you think they do it as often as they should? You're supposed to sharpen a straight edge knife every time you use it.
I used to like
every time. Yeah. It's like your sword, right? It's the only thing it's used for because nobody uses it to sharpen their knives, okay? This is, it's pretty useless. It comes in their set, but they don't even recommend to use it. The Henkel's brochure says you can use the sharpening rod, but we recommend taking it to a professional what? Sharpener. Costs anywhere from $40 to $60 to sharpen a set of knives. Okay, maybe $30 if you get a good deal. But if you have to sharpen it a couple times a year, it's like $100 a year to keep your knives sharp. Over 10 years, it's $1,000 just to keep your knives sharp. It's a lot of money. All high-quality knives have straight edges. All of our competitors, every single one, the best stuff out there, they're all straight edges. So what happens is, Mrs. Jones goes to the store and she drops $2,000 on this set of Henkel's. It's a really good knife. It's going to be sharp. It's a great knife as long as they keep it sharp. But does anybody use that sharpening stone that Isaiah is talking about? No. Most of your customers don't even know what that is. They wouldn't know how to use it, and they wouldn't do it as often as they should. So most customers, they go out, they spend $2,000, they swipe their credit card. Can they put on a 5-pay? No. Can they try it out first? No. Can they return it if they don't like it? No. $2,000 dropped, and then they use it after a month or two. This knife right here, okay, this Henkel's knife, which is part of a $2,000 set, compared to this Chicago knife, they look the same, right? They cut the same too. Why? Because we don't sharpen it all the time. And if you don't sharpen this all the time, they're going to be the same effective. They're going to have the same effectiveness. So this is $200. This is $2,000, but they're going to do the same job. So what happens is most customers, they end up spending $2,000 on a Chicago knife with a Henkel's logo on it. Does that make sense? So that's the big misconception with high quality knives. The second major difference is the guarantee. Henkel's has a warranty on defects. A warranty on defects. What does that mean? What's a warranty on defects mean?
Manufacturer error.
Yeah, well, manufacturer's defects. If the manufacturer, if it was made incorrectly, then it'll be replaced. Do you think they ever make it incorrectly? No, it's a knife. So it's only manufacturer's defects. As long as it's made correctly, there's no guarantee. So basically, they have no guarantee. So just based on the edges alone and the guarantee, so the edges and the guarantee together, would you agree that Cutco's at least twice as good as Henkel's? I would say it's 10 times as good. When something offers twice the quality and twice the value, what does it ask for in price? Twice the price. Just, yeah, you pay for what you get, right? In kitchen knives, that's what happens. All right, so that's Henkel's. The next one is called Wusthof. Wusthof is very, very, very similar to Henkel's. It's almost the same knife, the same style. They're a little bit better quality. Wusthof has been around longer, or excuse me, Henkel's been around longer, so it's more popular, but Wusthof is actually a better set. It's the same thing though, because it's got different qualities. You can buy a Wusthof, like this is called the Wusthof Grand Prix. Now somebody might buy this for a couple $100 and think, I've got Wusthof, but this is just a junky knife. This is like a Chicago knife, but it's got the Wusthof name on it. But if they buy the good one, it's gonna be high quality. The good one is called the Icon Blackwood, I-K-O-N Blackwood. And that's their top of the line. That's the only one that compares to Cutco. If I didn't have Cutco, I'd get the Wusthof Icon Blackwood. It's a great set. It's going to last 10 to 15 years if they keep it in good shape. The only difference is the same as Henkel's. It's got straight edges, so what do I have to do all the time? Sharpen it. It's going to go dull pretty quickly, and then it's got no guarantee. So it's the same thing as Henkel's. It's got no guarantee and straight edges. Now the Wusthof set is $3,325. Now they can get it on sale for less. I've seen some really incredible sale prices that they can get it for right at $2,000, and for that price, it's a steal. It's a really good set. Very, very high quality set. If I didn't have Cutco, I definitely have Wusthof. It's an awesome, awesome knife. $3,325, $2,000 on sale. That's the Icon Blackwood. Now, the next one is called Shun. Shun, by the way, Wusthof is a German brand also. Shun is a Japanese brand. It's very, very popular. It's getting more popular in the U.S. Does anybody here have Shun? Anybody's family own Shun? Does anybody's family own Henkel's or Wusthof? Shun is really popular. It's more expensive. It's about $4,300 for the Shun set. Same thing as Wusthof and Henkel's though. It's got straight edges and no guarantee. So we're going to go to Williams-Sonoma and look at the knife sets here, just because it's cheaper and we want to be fair to the other brands and not show inflated prices. So this is the cheapest you'll ever find. Now every brand has different qualities. So, for example, this is the Wusthof Classic 12-piece. Now Wusthof Classic, this is like their third or fourth tier. It's not their good one. It's got plastic handles and it's not the best steel. And it says 12-piece. When a set says how many pieces are in it, it includes the block, all the table knives, the shears, the sharpener, it includes everything. So this set, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only 5 knives, and it's $1,000. Now this is for their lower grade one. This is the Shun Classic. This is not their top one. This is their, they're like third or fourth tier, and it's a 9-piece set, but it only has 6 knives in it. And this one is $1,100. This is the Shun Kaji, no table knives. It just comes with these knives here. It's 9 pieces, and it's $2,300. This is the Shun Kaji. This is the one that's compared to the Cutco set. Doesn't it look like the Homemaker? All right, it's got this one only has 6 table knives, but ours has 8. Either way, it's about the same size set. It's $4,085 on sale for $2,700. This is the Wusthof Gourmet. The Wusthof Gourmet has stainless steel handles and plastic handles. It's not very good. It's still $1,000. Why? Because they're selling the name. Okay. This one is the Wusthof Classic Icon. Now you would think that's like, oh, this is their good one, right? No, just because it says the word icon in it, this is actually their third tier down, but it fakes you out to make you think it's their best one, but it's really not. It's lower quality. This is their 12-piece set. It's got 5 knives and 4 table knives. It's kind of like our Studio Plus 4 set. And this one's $13.60 for their lower grade one. $2,400 for this Shun Fuji set. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only 5 knives in a block for $2,400. This is the Wusthof Classic. It's like their second, third tier, $1,800. This Shun Classic set, this is their second or third. It's not their best one, but it's still $2,600. This is the Wusthof Classic set, $3,400. This is the Icon Blackwood. This is the one that compares to Cutco. Does this look similar? This one here, $33.25. It's the same price that I wrote up here. That's a really good price, and you can see it's on sale for $2,000. It's a very, very low price. It's a good set. That's a steal. It's a pretty good bargain for that set because it's very high quality. This Shun set, $5,343. $1,784 for this Shun Kaji set with no table knives. Shun Premier, this is their number 4, still $1,300 for that set. $1,800 for the Henckels Pro. This is their number 2. It's not their twin cuisine. Are you guys getting the idea? This is a global set. It's got 5 knives for $1,700.
I didn't know kitchenware was this expensive.
Yeah, because you don't shop for it, right? So like when I was 18, I had no idea. So, but your
clients be surprised?
no, not at all. Yeah, no, your customers won't be surprised because they've seen it before. So to you, it's surprising, but to them, not at all. Yeah, they won't be surprised. This is the Icon Blackwood, $2,000. But look, this set is only 5 knives and 4 table knives. This is like our Studio Plus 4 set. It's still $2,000. Based on just the guarantees alone, would you agree that Cutco is at least twice as good as Henckels? Yeah. So when something offers twice the quality, twice the value, you're talking twice the price. So we're going to base it off of the, we're actually going to base it off of the Wusthof set off the sale price though. Twice the quality, twice the value, you're talking twice the price. That's $39.99 for a comparable set of Cutco to that Wusthof set. Logically, does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about high quality, because when I first started, I was like, holy moly, it's a lot of money. I just didn't get it. Like if you gave me $4,000, I'd roll around naked in $4,000. I mean, like I wouldn't buy kitchen knives. I would go and spend it on anything else, right? Because I was 18, I wasn't in the market. So it's important to put yourself in your customer's shoes. Now, which one's the most expensive one up here? Think outside the box. Which one's the most expensive? Okay, Chicago's the most expensive. Why? Replace. If you have to replace it every 2 years, over 40 years, it's 20 replacements. 250 times 20 is $5,000. Now you're going to have to spend a couple. You're going to have to replace your Henckels and your Wusthof a couple times too. Essentially, it's going to come out to the same. If you buy cheap knives or if you buy good quality knives, they cost the same amount over time. At first, the cheap knives are cheaper, right? So that's why people get into that habit. But it's just going to add up. Has anybody ever had that before, where you buy something like over and over and over again, and eventually you're like, man, this is getting expensive, right? So that's what happens with cheap knives. It's just as easy to sell your customers a set of Cutco if they have Chicago or if they have Two-Guy Henckels or Wusthof. When people have high quality knives, they get it, they understand it, they appreciate the value, and if they've spent the money before, will they spend the money again? Yeah, absolutely. So it's really easy. Actually, my best customers were the ones that had Shun and Wusthof and Henckels because they already understood it, so I didn't have to sell them on value. They just got it, and they're like, well, Cutco's better, I might as well get that. Okay. Or they can, the people that have Chicago and Junkie knives, they have crappy knives, and they don't want to buy their knives over and over and over again. So it's really easy to sell somebody whether they have a good set or a low quality set. You can't get a good set of knives for under $1,000. You can't get a good set for under $1,000. So 1,000 equals good. 2,000 equals great, and 3,000 plus equals the best. Okay, 1,000 is good, 2,000 is great, 3,000 plus is the best. That's just how knives work. It's just, and again, as Yusuf said, your customers aren't going to be surprised. I want you to think about this though, because the cheap knives. Let's say you buy a cheap knife from Walmart, like a $20 cheap knife from Walmart. Who's got the cheap $20 Walmart knives at home? Okay. Now, do you just have one knife? No. How many do you have? You have a whole drawer full of them. So I want you to go home, and when you go home today, I want you to look at all those cheap knives. And every time you look at a knife, I want you to point to it, and I want you to say 20. Because that cheap $20 Walmart knife, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, that drawer is probably $400 or $500 worth of cheap Walmart knives. And they have to keep on getting recycled and replaced every couple of years. So every couple of years, you're recycling that. It's like $500 every couple of years. Does that make sense? So even your customers that are on super low budget, even your brokest of broke customers, they have a drawer full of $500 worth of crap. So can everybody afford good quality knives? Yeah, it's just a matter of perspective. That's what the point of your demo is, to show them and help them understand the importance of buying good quality knives. So every time you see a junk knife, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, it adds up pretty quickly. So just keep that in mind. It pays to get high quality stuff because it's safer and it's more efficient. Let's compare Cutco to Henckels. Henckels has good handles. They have good handles. Cutco has thermoresin handles. Is it more expensive to use thermoresin? Yes. Why is it worth it? Yeah, but why, specifically, why the thermoresin handles? Why are thermoresin handles so important? So it's dishwasher safe and durable. Okay. How about the wedge lock design? Is it more expensive to have wedge lock design? Why is it why is it worth it though? It's safer, more comfortable. Exactly. How about the steel? Henkel's has good steel. Their steel, the grade of steel is 420A. Does anyone remember what the grade of Cutco is? So it's one grade higher. They have good steel. We have great steel. Is it more expensive to have great steel? Yeah. Why is it worth it? Lasts longer. Exactly. It's durable. It looks shiny and nice and new. Like this is shiny, sort of. This is really shiny. Okay? So Cutco has the shiniest and best looking steel on earth. All right, they have straight edges. Cutco has double D edge. The double D edge, you remember from the video from your interview where it had the granite spinning wheels that were cutting the double D edge into the knife? The granite spinning wheel has crushed diamonds in it. Each wheel costs $9,000. They have, I don't even know how many wheels they have, obviously for all the different stations where they're putting on handmade double D edges onto the knives. It's a lot of money just to put the double D edge on. Is it worth it? Yeah. Forever guarantee. Is it more expensive? Yeah. Why is it worth it? Better quality, and it's going to last what? Forever. You never have to buy knives ever again. So it costs a lot more to make a Cutco knife. So naturally, more expensive, but it's worth it to the customer because they never buy knives ever again in their entire life. So very, very important to understand that. Also, there are 31 steps in the manufacturing process for Cutco. Most knife companies have less than half of that many steps. It takes 2 full weeks to make a Cutco knife. Now, we have a lot in stock. Don't worry, they get it quicker. But it takes 2 full weeks for a Cutco knife to be made. We take so much pride and so much care in making our product. It's American made. Is that more expensive? Yeah, because to pay American factory workers a lot of money. The average factory worker in the Cutco factory has been there for over 20 years. It's a long time. A lot of experience. It's handmade. It's handmade. It's the best quality in the world. So it's more expensive. Is it okay to pay more for good quality products? Yeah. Has anybody ever spent a lot of money on something that you really appreciated, and every time you looked at it, wore it, felt it, used it, whatever, you really thanked yourself over and over? Has anybody ever bought something really cheap and then you regretted it like a day later or right after you bought it? Yeah. So it pays to get good stuff. Now, you're in a different market than your customers. You got to put price in perspective. When you're in elementary school and like mom gives you $5 or grandma gives you $5, when you're in elementary school, like you are set, you are loaded, like you are the man, you're the woman. If you got $5 in elementary school, you're living large. Would you agree? Yeah. Now, once you get to junior high, $5 isn't going to cut it anymore. How much do you need in junior high? 20 bucks. But if you have 20 bucks in junior high, you got the movies, you got some Chick-fil-A, like you are the cool guy or the cool girl if you have 20 bucks in junior high. Now, $20 isn't going to cut it in high school. When you're in high school, how much do you need to have? 100 bucks. But if you have a Benjamin in high school, like you're the guy or girl that everybody wants to hang out with. Go on that nice date, you go to the movie, get a good dinner, right? You got 100 bucks. Now, you get to freshman year in college, $100 isn't lasting very long, okay? But if you had $1,000 when you're a freshman in college, you're looking pretty good, you're pretty set, okay? Now you get out of college, $1,000 isn't even going to pay for the security deposit on your apartment, right? $1,000 is nothing after college. Okay, and then a couple of years out of college, let's say you buy your first house. You buy your first house. Do you know how much the average person puts down as a deposit on a home? $15,000. Well, what percent? 20%. 20% is pretty standard. Let's say your brokest of broke customers, which you're not showing your brokest of broke customers Cutco, right? But let's say the brokest of broke people that have a $100,000 house, how much do they put down on the house? $20,000. Even if they just put 10%, they put $10,000 down. Everybody has money to spend, you spend it on different things. So people that you don't think have a lot of money, if they're able to put $10,000 or $20,000 on a really, cheap $100,000 house, of course they have money. So as you're saying, does this surprise them? No. If they can throw down 10 grand on deposit on a house, how about your customers that live in a $500,000 house? How much are they putting down? Okay, 20% would be, well, on a $500,000 house, it would be 100 grand. Okay, 10% would be 50 grand. So if your customers are able to put down $50,000 to $100,000 on a deposit on a $500,000 house, is this a lot of money? No. You just have to put it in perspective. To you, it's a lot of money. To them, no big deal. It's just a normal expense. Okay? How about your customers who live in the $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 house, the $1 million houses? That's like, seat cushion change. Honestly. Literally. And I'm not trying to like downplay it because yes, it is cost money, and this is not like a little bit of money. It's expensive, right? But to a homeowner, not a big deal, right? A good set of kitchen knives to a homeowner, no big deal. That's why we sell sets all the time. So realize you have to put yourself in your customer's shoes and put it in perspective. Is anybody's family shop at Costco? Okay, when you go to Costco and you fill up the cart, It's 500 bucks. You can't leave Costco with spending less than 500, right? It's just 500 bucks. Now, when mom goes to Costco and it says 500 on the register and the lady says 500 bucks, please, does your mom say, oh my gosh, $500? No, she says, okay, here you go. Gives the card, swipe, good to go, rest of the day. And then she probably goes to another store and goes and gets some more stuff somewhere else, right? $500 is not a big deal to a homeowner. Just swipe and they do that on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. It's not a lot of money. Okay, it's actually very, very little money for a homeowner. Now to you, it's a lot of money. If I give you $500, you'd be like, man, I'm set. I'm taking off for the next couple of weeks, right? But for a homeowner, 500 bucks is nothing. All right, let's talk about what you spend your money on, because the things that you spend your money on, your customers think that you're crazy. Like mom and dad, they think you're absolutely insane. The things that they spend their money on, you think that they're absolutely insane. So I want to help you put yourself in perspective. I want you to think about something that you've spent a lot of money on. I want you to write this down. What have you spent a boatload of money on? A boatload of money. Your money, and I don't want sales, I don't want good deals. I want what you spent your money on, just an obscene amount of money. What's the one thing that you own that you really love that mom and dad thought you were crazy, that they gave you so much crap for, that they were so irritated, so pissed? Maybe it's the pair of shoes, maybe it's the leather jacket, maybe it's the purse, maybe it's the prom dress, maybe it's the sunglasses, the iPhone. What is it that you spent a lot of money on that your parents thought you were crazy? Or what do you spend over and over and over repetitively that adds up to a lot of money? Or what's one thing that you bought that you thought was really cool, you really appreciated because you were in the market for, but mom and dad thought you were nuts? Okay, I want you to write that down. I want you to think about those things, and I want you to write those down. If you have multiple, I want you to write those down too. Who's got one thing you spent a ton of money on that mom freaked out over? Damien?
I bought an Alienware computer for $28.
Alienware computer, and that's for gaming, right? Yeah. Okay, so you're into gaming, and who's not into gaming here? Who thinks $2,800 is a lot of money for a laptop? Who likes gaming? Who's really into that? Who think that's pretty awesome? Same hands, right? Since you're in the market for it, you think that's awesome. You're kind of jealous. Everybody else, you think he's a freak. Does that make sense? Good. And mom thought you were crazy. But every time you use it, you're fired up. You love it. Okay, good. Give me another example.
I spent $800 on a 32 gigabyte iPhone.
Okay, $800 on an iPhone. Now, to you, it's important. Now, who freaked out?
My dad.
Dad freaked out. He doesn't get it. He still uses the flip phone. He just doesn't understand the importance of having a cool iPhone. You guys get that? Different market. Who's got another example?
I spent $700 on turntables.
$700 on turntables. Now, who else is a DJ in here? Anybody else DJ? So, Jackson, that's pretty cool, right? You're like, damn, that's awesome. Who doesn't DJ? Who thinks it's a lot of money? Same hands, right? It's all about the market. It's all about perspective. Everyone you spend your money on.
Oh, I was thinking, but my hair, I guess.
Okay, how much on your hair?
Like at least 200, 300.
How often?
Like every 2 months.
2 months, $200 to $300. So that is what, like $1,200, $1,500 a year? About $1,500 a year on her hair. Now, ladies, you can appreciate that. Guys, you think that's insane. It's all about perspective. It's all about market. Are we getting this? Who's got a really sweet pair of shades? Who's spent over $100 on a pair of sunglasses before? Whose mom thought you were crazy, right? Because mom doesn't get it. She says go like this, right? She doesn't get it, but to you, it looks cool. Anybody have a gaming system? Spend a couple $100 on a gaming system and then all the games, right? And all the games. And mom and dad think you're crazy. They say just play the old Nintendo, but they don't get it. It's 20 years old, doesn't even plug in. You've got to blow in the game to make it work, okay? They don't get it. But for you, it's important, all right? Any athletes in here? How about cleats and sports equipment? It's really expensive. How many of you at least once a week go to either Starbucks, Jimmy John's, Subway, Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, anything like that? At least once a week. How many of you twice a week? 3 times a week? 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times? Okay, it's $10 average, right? Let's say the average person in here goes to one of those places 5 times a week. That's $50 a week. That's $200 a month. You're spending $200 a month on sandwiches and coffee. You realize that you can buy a Galley Plus 6 every 5 months. You're not even gainfully employed. You just have this magical, mysterious money that just falls in your bank account, and you can afford a Galley Plus 6 every 5 months. You're showing homeowners, they work full time, and they have a job. You can afford this stuff with the money you spend on sandwiches. Your customers are in a different position than you are. I want you to realize that all of these things, does everyone have at least one thing written down that you spent a boatload, an obscene amount of money on? Okay? I want you to realize that you bought all those things without a job. But realize that you weren't working full time, you were in school, you bought that stuff with birthday money and allowance, right? All those things you bought growing up and in high school, and a lot of you in college, you bought that on birthday money, allowance, and graduation money. You didn't even have a job. So you think people are crazy because they spend a couple $1,000s on high quality kitchen knives that they're going to use every single day? And you bought those things and you're jobless. Does that help put something in perspective a little bit? You're crazy. They're not the crazy ones. You're insane. How do you spend $500 if you have no money? Everybody has money to spend. People just spend on different things. And we got Danny Perez. Your fast start. Do you remember how many demos you did?
I did I think like 26 or something like that. Yeah. Again, when I first started, I was one of those people who was like, cool, I get base pay. This is awesome. Like I had no intent of doing this as a career. I was just like, I know a lot of people. I can get free money. This is cool. And sold like, I think 8,500.
8,526. That was like 2 or 3 demos a day. If you could go back and do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Work.
Yeah.
I'd say just work and see good people, and then really like take advantage of getting referrals back then. So I could have just started from the very beginning, building what I do now. Yeah. Would have been so much nicer.
And what are you at in sales now?
Like right under 600,000.
Should he say that again? 600,000. Okay. And what's your biggest sales year ever?
Last year I did 157.
157. This year, what are you going for?
225. I want to get my Rolex so I can have nice watches like you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, this is Curtis J. Hughes. Curtis is right under the $3 million sales mark. He is arguably the best rep in the history of the company. For somebody at $600,000 in sales to say, hey, I'm flying to Denver to learn from Curtis, it's a big deal. And Curtis is the best in our office. He's the best ever. What do you like most about Cutco?
Everything.
Easy to sell?
Oh, very easy. What do I love about Cutco, the product?
Yeah.
It's American made, it's guaranteed, it lasts forever, and everybody buys it.
Yeah. And what do you like most about Vector?
Everything. The people, the travel, the money.
Where have you traveled for free on the company?
I've been to Ireland, I've been to Canada, I've been to Mexico a bazillion times, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Honduras, the Caribbean, the Bahamas, Jamaica, anywhere imaginable. Yeah. Hawaii.
And you got off to an excellent start. You sold $86 whole in your first weekend. Why did you get off to such a slow start?
Because I thought I knew everything.
What did you do wrong?
I didn't follow the manual and I didn't listen to anything anyone told me to do.
And then once you started following the manual and listening to your manager, what started happening?
I started selling knives.
Yeah. And what's your biggest sales week ever?
32,000.
In 1 week? What percentage were you at?
That was in 3 days.
In 3 days? And what percent were you at?
Half.
At 50%. That's not a bad weekend. And can you give some advice that first weekend they're going to be making their calls tonight?
Advice, stay positive, be excited. Every person that you line up for a demo, that's money in your pocket. Just stay positive and focused for your appointments. Because the better you are now, the better you'll be later on. Awesome. Which I wish I could have redone.
Yeah. If you did your fast start all over again, what would you do differently?
Everything.
Follow the manual.
Yeah, are you guys doing the same fast start prices?
No, they don't know about the fast start yet.
Oh.
He won't tell us. He won't tell us.
The fast start price, let's just say this. I'm a person that loves to travel. And
that's it. No more. All right, let's give Curtis a round of applause. All right. I want to talk about things in the house and what customers spend their money on. Anybody ever jump on the bed when you were a kid? Mom and dad say don't jump on the bed because you're going to hit your what? Do they care about your head? What do they care about? The bed. Do you know how much the average bed costs? Like you can go budget on anything, but do you know how much a bed costs these days? $2,000-3,000 minimum. Who's got a family member with a super nice one that like every time you go home you just kind of put your head down on mom and dad's bed. You're like, I'm just gonna take a little nap, right? So that one's like $5,000-6,000. You can get the sleep numbers for like 7 or 8. How about the coffee table? Coffee table is a piece of wood. It's got 4 legs. You put stuff on it, right? Would you agree? $1,000 minimum. Usually $1,500 to $2,000 for a good quality coffee table. Do most of your families, do most of your customers have a quality coffee table? Yes. Why? Because you need it for the house. You're not a homeowner. Things for the house don't cost hundreds. They cost what? Thousands. How about the dining room table? Do you know how much an average dining room table is? Now you can go budget, but how much for a good dining room table these days? That's like Walmart collection. Here's the thing. Your customers, they might go to Walmart to get groceries and stuff, but nobody's furnishing their house with the Walmart collection. Can you agree with that? Nobody's furnishing with the Walmart collection. A dining room table, $5,000 average. $3,000 minimum for a flimsy one from IKEA, but $5,000 average. Who's got a super fancy one at home? Who's got a family member, a relative with just one of those huge dining room tables with really fancy carvings and moldings? Okay, $15,000. Go home and ask your parents how much they spend on the dining room table. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to say, this is why I have to pay for my own college education? Because of this? It's in the room that you're not allowed to even go in. It's in the no-touch room. You're not allowed to even go in there. It's all vacuumed the same way. And that room that you're not allowed in ever, you're not allowed to even look at it, right? Don't look at that room. You're not allowed in there, right? That room, it's like $100,000 for that room. You don't even use it. It's making sense? How about kitchen knives? They use every day. Cutco, never have to replace. Buy once. All right. How about the kitchen? Cutco's in the kitchen. New fridge. How much for a good quality fridge these days? What?
$2,000.
Minimum. If you want the door to be floppy and handles falling off. About $3,000 for a good one. $4,000 or $5,000 for the best. You can get the Sub-Zeros for like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Who's got a super fancy one with the French doors and the pull out? Who's got those at home? Okay, $4,000 or $5,000 easy. Easy. You put food in it, stays cold. $4,000 or $5,000. Okay. How about granite countertops? Who's got granite? Who has some customers on your list of granite countertops? Every single one of you. Probably half your list or 3/4 your list. Granite countertops, depending on the type of granite, anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000, depending on the type of granite. Do people have it? Yeah. Why? Because they appreciate the things in their house. Things for the house don't cost hundreds. They cost what? Thousands. Anybody ever redo a kitchen? Anybody ever remodel a kitchen? $50,000 to $100,000 minimum. Anybody have oak cabinets they've ever redone? Or ever do oak cabinets? 10, 15 grand for oak cabinets. Hardwood flooring. Whose dad does hardwood flooring? D? Hardwood flooring. $10,000, $15,000 per room. Okay? It's not cheap. Anybody ever redo floors in their house? It's a big expense. This is like pocket change compared to that. Literally pocket change. Okay? So the idea is to think about it as an investment. Now, I've got a tank of gas. Logan, this is for you. Tank of gas, $39.99. You want it? It's forever guaranteed.
Yeah.
You never have to buy it ever again in your entire life.
Yeah.
You would buy it if I gave you until midnight tonight? Would you come up with it? Would you find a way? Probably. Who else would find a way? $4,000 for tank gas, forever guaranteed. You never buy it again. Why? It's worth it. It's a lot of money up front, but it pays itself off over time. That's the philosophy for Cutco. We'd rather explain the price once than apologize for poor quality over and over and over again. I want to talk about closing. Closing is the process of making the sale, sealing the deal, asking for the order, smiling and nodding your head. Smile and nod. That's closing. It's very laid back. Now, we don't have to be in their face high pressure because we have the best product in the world. It's very laid back, very simple. When we close, we start with the Homemaker Plus 8. Why do we start with the Homemaker Plus 8? Best value for the average family. It's for customers who cook 2 to 3 times a week for family dinners. If they're cooking every day, they need something bigger. The Homemaker is way too small. It's just for the average family. Who knows somebody who cooks a lot more? Okay, they're going to need the bigger stuff. But the Homemaker is the basic set for the average family. Now, we show everyone no matter what, even if we don't think they're going to buy it. Why do we do that?
So you can convince them.
Well, good idea. So they can what? So they can see it. Do you ever know what somebody's spending habits are? Who knows somebody who's like a jeans and t-shirts person but has more money than God? You would never know, right? Who knows somebody who doesn't have a big house but they have a super fancy car? Who knows somebody who doesn't have a fancy house or a car but they go on vacation like every weekend? You never know what somebody's spending habits are. So you have to show everyone because you never know. Your most unlikely customers will be your biggest sales. They will surprise the heck out of you. Would you agree that Cutco brings the family together? Who here has an uncle or a family member that doesn't live lavishly, but every time there's a family event, they throw down? Like big barbecues and family events and family reunions, stuff like that. Those are the people who buy the signature sets and ultimate sets. Any excuse they have to bring the family together, they're going to spend a lot of money. They won't spend it on themselves, but Cutco is a family purchase. So those customers that do the barbecues and all those big events, they're going to buy the big sets and it will surprise the heck out of you. Don't be surprised at that. All right. The second reason why you have to show everyone the Homemaker no matter what is because you have to show value. If Dylan's customers just picked out individual pieces and you said, okay, here are these 3 pieces, here's the price, there's no perspective. If you go and shop for a car, like for a BMW, they're going to show you the 7 Series first and then the 5, then the 3. They're not going to just show you the 3 first because there's no comparison. So you have to start high and then what we call drop down. So in sales, it's a process called dropping down. You start from the higher price and then you go to the lower price. It's called dropping down. So they have to see all the options to understand. Also, if Ryan shows the Homemaker and then the customer ends up just buying 2 pieces, if he goes straight from the Homemaker to those 2 pieces, it's too big of a gap. too big of a gap, they're going to lose it, they won't understand the value, and it's not going to turn out well. But if they go one step at a time, baby steps, then it makes sense to the customer and they can see the value. The third reason is that you have to respect your customers. If you don't ask your customer to buy, so let's say Kristen is sitting in her customer's house and she shows them the homemaker, but she doesn't ask confidently. If she says, so do you think that you want to get it? It's clearly telling them that she doesn't think they have enough what? Money. And that's disrespectful. You're sitting at their kitchen table. Not a good thing. You've got to ask confidently. Has anybody ever been to a store and the salesperson ignored you? You ever been there? Okay, doesn't feel good, does it? Have you ever been to a store when you knew that you couldn't even afford the rack that the clothes or the hanger that the clothes were sitting on, but somebody asked you if you needed help and it made you feel good, right? You ever do that, ladies? You go into a really expensive store just to look around. Somebody asks you if you want help. You're like, no, I'm just looking. I'm just browsing. Okay, but it feels good because it's a sign of respect. You have to ask your customers every single time, no matter what, to buy the Homemaker Plus 8. And you have to ask with confidence and expect them to say yes, because otherwise it's disrespectful. You can't disrespect them at their kitchen table. If they say no, no big deal. No big deal. You're not going to be like, oh, man, dumb. No, you say, okay, no big deal. Let me show you the next set. And then we just drop down, okay? We go to the next set. Now, 18,000 people bought the Galley set last year. That means 18,000 people said no to the Homemaker. Do you think the rep freaked out and like tucked and rolled out the front door? No. They said, no big deal. Let me show you the next one. Okay, and they showed the Galley set, and 18,000 people said, yes, it's only missing 3 pieces. It's like the same set. It's awesome. 18,000 people bought it. So you just have to be confident and you just drop down. Question on the Homemaker?
No, what's a good way to ask confidently?
Smile and nod. Yeah, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. Yeah. It's, hey, would you like to go in and get that today? Smile. It's very laid back. It's not like you're going to get it, right? So, yeah, it's just super laid back, super easy. Here's the thing. Cutco is such a great value that if they get it, they're going to get it. If not, you just drop down, you find what is in their budget. But we do this process called dropping down. That way some people will get the stuff at the top, some people get the smaller sets, and some people get individual pieces. Whatever their comfort level is, by the time you get there, they say yes, you write up the order, you high five, you hug it out, right? So it's a very, very easy process. Does the Mercedes dealer drive a Mercedes? No. He drives the beat up piece of junk in the back. But he talks to his customers as if he drives a what? Mercedes. You have to talk to customers at their own level. If you say, do you want to go ahead and get this set today? Right? And you ask if you're constipated and you ask, it's not gonna work. Now, if a Mercedes dealer said to his customer, if Connor's trying to buy a Mercedes and I'm selling him one, I'm not gonna be like, it's like $65,000. No, they just say, hey, it's 65. How does that sound? Make sense? So you have to ask with confidence. All right, when they say no, no big deal. No's are actually good, because if they say no, then it gives you an opportunity to just go down to the next set, right? Not everyone's gonna buy the Homemaker. A lot of people do, but when they say no, it's a good thing. Every no leads to a yes. No's are actually positives. How many out of 10 buy Cutco?
7.
Yeah, in our office, 7. 6 is company average. How many out of 10 do you think buy the Homemaker set?
4.
1. On average, 1 out of 10. In our office, a little bit more. Our top reps, way more. We had Courtney Cochran, first 5 appointments, 5 Homemaker sales. Matt Queen, 5 out of his first 6 appointments, Homemaker sales. Now, why do you think top reps sell more?
More experience.
Confident, experience, and more appointments. The more appointments you do, the more opportunities you have, and the more you learn also. So you get better more quickly. Also, passion for the product. If you love Cutco, right now, Sean's parents own a Homemaker set. So do you think he's pretty passionate about Cutco? So it's going to be pretty easy for Sean to sell a lot of Cutco because he's going to say, this is what my mom has, so I think you should get it too. And it's because it's normal for him, right? So confidence, passion for the product, and of course experience. So top reps, it's like 2 or 3 out of 10, average is 1. That means that 9 out of 10 people are going to say no. They're not saying no to you, they're just saying no to the product. They're not saying no to Cutco in general, they're just saying no to that one set, right? Because 18,000 people said no, and then they quickly said yes to the Galley set. All right. Number 1 reason why customers love sets is because they have the right tool for the right job. Any set has the right tool for the right job. Right? The big sets do, so do the small sets. It just depends on what they're going to use, right? But all the sets have the right tool for the right job. So it's safer and efficient. The second reason why customers love sets is because they are cheaper. It's about a 10% discount when they get it in a set. So if they were to pick individual pieces, let's say Eddie's customer says, I just want to get a couple pieces, no big deal. Show all the sets because all of the smaller ones are just a couple pieces put together in a smaller block, so it still has the discount, and they're going to end up spending more if they buy individuals. So there's definitely a set for them. So if they say, hey Jackson, I just want to buy pieces, no big deal. Let me show you the smaller sets first because they're good combinations and they're cheaper. If they don't like any of the combinations, of course they can pick out individuals, but it's definitely cheaper in a set. Okay, the third reason is because they get free stuff. Do you think customers like free stuff? Have you ever bought something just because something else came for free? We do it all the time. And the fourth thing is it's safer. Okay, sets are safer because they come in a block or tray. So we always focus on sets. If they want to buy pieces, that's fine, but you have to show the sets first because you don't want your customers spending more money than they have to. 50% of customers buy sets, 50% buy pieces. Now the people who buy pieces, what do you think they're going to do later? Yeah, they're going to buy sets. They're going to get more. Is it good that they buy pieces? Yeah, because what are they going to buy from you over winter break? Or next summer? They're going to upgrade. Yeah. Pieces are a good thing. The badge of honor for a Cutco rep is called closing percentage. It's how many people out of 10 buy from you. That's the badge of honor for a Cutco rep. Average order size is a product of your customer base. If you got really awesome customers, of course you're going to sell more sets, right? But the closing percentage is way more important. I'd rather have a rep sell 9 out of 10, just individual pieces and smaller sets, than a rep sell a couple sets here and there and then nothing else. So it's all about closing percentage. That's way more important. That shows the true talent of a rep.